Hey,
Chase.
What's
yo, my
up?
guy. What's up, dude?
Ben, look at that t-shirt.
Yes, mate.
What up?
That is
What's
fantastic.
happening?
What's happening? Did you have any like comments that spurred from any of the articles that you saw? Like, were you?
Well, I'll just say real quick, you were talking about Chris Packham, who I didn't
Mm.
know is the president of the RSPCA, because I recognized the name and he's actually speaking at the vegan campout.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, his name is right there on the thing right next to Earthling Ed. So I'm interested to see how that'll turn out, you know.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. Yeah, I completely forgot that he's supposed to be speaking, and he'll probably be asked some questions about that and his thoughts. So
100%.
yeah. Okay, so do you want to give some context, Chase, of
Sure.
this? Is it what is this show called that you called into, and why
Yeah.
did you do so?
Yeah, so this is a YouTube show called Truth Wanted, and it's put on by the ACA, the Atheist Community of Austin, which is a nonprofit organization committed to the separation of church and state. And they take callers. It's kind of like it's tied with it's like the sister show of the Atheist Experience, which
Ah,
is another show on YouTube, an atheist show, and Talk Heathen. These are all like atheist shows that take callers that are religious people. Sometimes they'll take fellow atheist calls if they're slow, but they usually take calls from theists, religious people, and kind of debate them or talk to them about their religious beliefs. But this show, Truth Wanted, opens it up a little bit more to than the other shows, the Atheist Experience and Talk Heathen, which really focus um, on religion. But Truth Wanted here opens it up to, do you believe in Bigfoot and karma and aliens and things like this? And I was like, oh, aliens. And so I was like, well, I've got some ideas about how aliens and animal rights works together. But also, this show is just really open to hearing about veganism in general. So if I encourage people to look for shows like this on YouTube or podcasts, and try to call in when they have call-in shows like this, and try to maybe make some notes before you call in and try to be on your best behavior and represent the movement well and stuff,
mhm.
and have your thoughts put together. But it can be a good way of reaching people because I'm only talking to two people here, these two hosts of this show, but there's like 200 people watching the show live, and then several thousand people watch the show after it's gone live and it's up on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, you've done quite a few of these call-in shows, haven't you? Like you have
Yeah,
done them.
another one is called Skeptic Generation.
Ah, okay, fantastic. Okay, well, we're gonna watch it, and I'll try and pause when it seems pertinent to pause. But if you want to stop me, then just let me know.
Yeah,
And
and maybe like me and Kenny can raise our hands if we want you to pause it or something, so you have a visual cue.
yeah, that would be good. Okay, yeah, I'll be
Sweet.
ready. Hopefully, you can hear this.
They come to Earth and
Right.
they treat humans the way that we treat animals in factory farms and slaughterhouses. So the aliens put us in cages, they kill our friends, and now they're coming at us with the knife, and we're screaming and trying to escape. But 3% of the aliens are vegan, and they're saying to the other aliens, hey guys, why don't we be nice to the humans? Nobody gets to choose how they're born, and there's nothing wrong with being different.
I'm a bit speciesist, and that's probably very wrong of me.
We can do whatever we want because we have power over them. But I feel like that's an
Probably.
abuse of power.
Probably.
I don't like that I eat so much meat. Like I know that there is harm caused to animals.
So already we have someone who's quite receptive, but this is obviously like a preview of like I'm imagining before there
Yeah.
wasn't as you're getting to him quite a bit. It seems. Okay.
Moving towards a more plant-based diet. I've stopped eating all meat.
Once you get used to a new thing, and if you just focus on the animals and focus on justice, if we don't want violence done to us from another being that's stronger than us, then I don't want to do that violence to someone who's not as strong and smart as me. I want to use my power to protect the vulnerable, you know?
Here we go.
Chase, him in Idaho, he's got a thought experiment about aliens oppressing humans. Okay.
Aliens again.
Yeah, I love this, and this is why Truth Wants is great, because there's everything. You get everything.
Great.
Aliens, ghosts. The lines are still open if you want to call in and talk about any of this. But hey, Chase, how you doing?
Doing well. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm a big fan of the show.
Good.
Hi, Chase.
We're a big fan of you.
Aw.
What have you got for us?
All right, so hypothetically, imagine that aliens exist and they're smarter and stronger than us, and they come to Earth and treat humans the way that we treat animals in factory farms and slaughterhouses. So the aliens put us in cages, they kill our friends, and now they're coming at us with the knife, and we're screaming and trying to escape. But 3% of the aliens are vegan, and they're saying to the other aliens, hey guys, why don't we be nice to the humans? Nobody gets to choose how they're born, and there's nothing.
Go for it.
All of a sudden, everyone loves vegans, man. After that, like, oh my god, please help me, Mr. Vegan Alien. I love you.
Yeah, suddenly the vegans are the absolute heroes.
And it's kind of funny. The guy on the right, you know, he's like blushing a little bit, smiling. He's like, well, I'm liking how this is going. You know, he's appreciating the approach, I think.
The creativity of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Wrong with being different. What matters is the humans feel pain and pleasure, and they want to live. But the aliens who are killing us are laughing at the vegan aliens, saying, what do you care about these stupid humans for? They look different than us. They're not as smart as us, right? So the question is, should we be violent toward animals just because they're a different species and less intelligent? Or is that discrimination similar to how the aliens were oppressing us?
I know people don't really like the aliens comparison, but I actually think it's fantastic. Like, it's just like, because we like to think that we're like the superior species. Like, if one came down that we would actually consider superior, you know, how would we deal with being then the victim in that position? I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. And go ahead, Kenny.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, yeah, it is amazing. And if someone comes back like, oh, that doesn't exist, that would never happen. It's like, no, it does exist. We're doing it to non-humans. Like, it does exist. But anyway, on you go.
Yeah, I think it's just a consistency, you know, to see, you know, I mean, I think aliens can be used in this way where aliens are, you know, stronger than us and they're oppressing us, and that helps us gain a little perspective. Or aliens can be used in vegan debates in the way where, you know, like how name the trait works, and like, well, what if you came into you know, if you found an alien who was different, like, is it okay to kill those aliens just because they're different or less intelligent, you know? So I think it works in multiple ways. I think these are good thought experiments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. This is basically, we should all be vegan, right? This is maybe we should all be vegan.
This is a vegan call, yeah.
I where I stand on this is, and I'm really sorry, but I really like how some animals taste. So my opinion is.
Are you impressed by that response, Kenny?
Yeah, just like the lowest hanging fruit. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm really sorry. I just like the way they taste. All right, well then, all of the imagery that I've just painted goes out the window completely.
How did you feel? How did you feel when he said this, Chase?
Well, of course it's disappointing to hear that. But on the other side, like, of that coin is that he is being honest. You know, he's at least not trying to come up with some excuse or something. I mean, he's just being honest. I mean, this is kind of an excuse still of the flavor, you know, but he's, you know, you'll see in a second that he is pretty open-minded to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's carry on.
Is that I'm a bit speciesist, and that's probably very wrong of me. What about you, Vimo?
I understand what you're saying there, and of course the response would just be, well, the aliens think that you taste delicious, you know, so is that a justification for the violence?
Right. But if we're, if the aliens are intelligent and we're, maybe we're intelligent, I don't know, and we can find a way to reason with them and say, look, maybe don't eat us because this is our thought process. If animals started saying to me, please don't eat me because this, I would probably stop eating the animals.
They are saying
And it's not all the
Yeah.
animals. I don't eat all the animals.
I understand what you're saying, but I guess I feel like the animals are communicating with us, like dogs and cats and pigs and stuff. They communicate with us. They scream in pain. They run away in fear. They also, nuzzle up to us and be social and kind to us when we're nice to them.
Like, how many times have we all three of us seen animal slaughter footage? Like, quite clearly, they are communicating that they are not happy with this experience.
100%. Yeah, they are saying that. Just that you don't listen.
You don't listen.
And if there was I don't know if I bring this up in a minute in the debate, but if there was a human, because there are humans who can't communicate with us, who can't, some adults are, have brain damage or a severe mental disability such that they're only as smart as a 3-year-old child or a dog or a pig, and they can't communicate with us, but that doesn't make it okay to hurt them.
No, absolutely.
Exactly,
yeah. No.
Right. And
James,
that's the
can I-
thing. We domesticate some of these animals, so we almost give them human personas, so that makes it more difficult. I could never eat my dog unless I was on a desert island and I was really hungry because she's quite meaty.
Yeah, I hear you. And I feel the same way as a vegan for the past 13 years. I did eat animals for 26 years, but now, I would also, like you, if I was stranded on a desert island and there was no vegan food around, no plant foods, and the only option was to kill and eat a dog or a pig or you, I might do it, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to hurt somebody But I'm not going to hurt somebody just because I enjoy the taste of their dead body. You know what I mean? I'm not going to oppress.
Right.
I don't want to oppress someone unless I have to.
James, can I ask you something? In this hypothetical alien visitation example, if the aliens happen to be plant-based life forms and they feed themselves using photosynthesis and they come to Earth and they see that people are eating plants and the same thing works out the way you said.
No, that's the Neil deGrasse Tyson argument.
Exactly.
No.
And luckily I had already seen the Neil deGrasse Tyson argument, and so I was ready for this.
Yeah, oh my God.
What would you do?
Oh, well, if these alien plants are sentient and conscious, like they have personalities and desires and feel pain and stuff, that would change the situation, if and similarly, I would think though that if those alien plants were sentient and they saw us eating plants that are not sentient here on Earth, because an apple doesn't care how you treat it because it doesn't have a brain or a nervous system. An apple doesn't feel pain, so I don't think the alien plants would care that we're eating plants on Earth because our plants are not sentient. They're not conscious.
It appears to be like, I completely respect your point of view, but it appears to me to be quite a bit of imagination at work here. Like, you're trying to get us to feel that aliens would be like this, but not like this. And then you're deciding what the parameters of their engagement with us are going to be.
Well, I guess
But that's a hypothetical that you've created to directly compare the situation.
Yeah. He wasn't able to compare it to the real scenario that we're doing to animals. He's just focusing on the aliens to us thing because that doesn't exist, so he can escape the real life situation. Earlier on, that guy said something about giving them human personas. It's just all part of this. Humans are the only ones that have a persona. No, they have personas, dude. Non-human ones. Just
and plants don't, and so I think that the I think I originally made an analogy, that was like a hypothetical that was appropriate, and then I think he made a disanalogous hypothetical. His hypothetical wasn't tracking the conversation and didn't lead anywhere.
Just introduce a brand new one.
Yeah, and now it just seems like he's conflating, he's equalizing, the two hypotheticals, like his hypothetical and my hypothetical, and conflating them and calling them basically the same thing, and that it's just trying to dismiss the power of a good hypothetical. And I don't know why he would do that. But sometimes people, I mean, we all engage in hypotheticals, like, every day, little ones, like what would happen if I changed lanes, and took this street instead, but sometimes the more complex a hypothetical can get, or the more emotional, or the more, that it kicks in that cognitive dissonance in somebody, the more difficult it can be for them to understand or engage with that hypothetical.
Yeah, I can't stand this dismissal of hypotheticals. Like, we literally present hypotheticals to children. Like, don't call them a name. How would you like it? What if I called you a name? Like, there's a hypothetical right there to teach children, like, not to do a certain thing. Like, they're very clear to understand. But yeah, as soon as you said, as soon as it challenges you, suddenly, instead of actually like engaging with it, it's like, oh, you've created this hypothetical. If it was disanalogous, if there was like some like problem, like where it's like impossible, like logically or something like that, then fair enough. But you haven't done anything wrong here, and so yeah,
you have to introduce a hypothetical because they don't see anything wrong with the current situation, so you have to like introduce a new one to help them see that there's something wrong with it.
Maybe weird. Yeah, I think like this is just one of many approaches. I don't think you necessarily have to use hypothetical examples in a vegan conversation, doing outreach or a debate. I think that you can just focus on, the animals and, what they're going through and how we ain't got no right to do this. But I think that these arguments from analogy and these hypotheticals really do help illustrate, help us gain that perspective.
Yeah, especially if you're somebody who can like picture things really well. I think it's really helpful. I find hypotheticals really helpful to help me navigate what I would do in another situation, because my brain just kind of works that way. And if it depends who you're talking to. If I were to come on this talk show and talk to them, I would just kind of assume that they would be ready for a hypothetical. They just seem like the type of people who use them. So okay.
The question is like, what philosophy of the two types of aliens, the majority of the aliens who are killing us in the hypothetical versus the 3% of vegan aliens, whose philosophy between those two, whose philosophy do we hope will win out in the end? Do we hope the vegan aliens will win and justice will prevail and the humans will be preserved? Or do we hope for some weird reason that the cruel aliens will win and they kill us,
Well, justice is a very human concept, no? So, it exists in human society. When a lion eats a deer in the forest, you don't say it is unjust that the deer died, or if the deer escapes, you don't say it is unjust that the lion starved to death.
All the more reason for us to practice justice then.
That's true. If he's saying justice is a very human concept, it's like,
you're human.
So you're human.
So be just.
What does he think I wonder what he thinks he's saying with this. Like, okay.
Conversation like, who will win in a fight, Captain America or Iron Man? We're still talking completely in hypotheticals. I suppose whoever the writer wants to win will win. And you're writing the story right now.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is like the lion kills in order to survive and they don't know any better. It's still unfortunate for the deer that the lion kills, it's still violent, but it's not like the lion knows any better. But we, on the other hand, are civilized human beings, and the aliens in the thought experiment are even smarter than us. So it's like we ought to know better than to cause needless violence.
But plenty of civilized human beings have engaged in pretty uncivilized behavior throughout history. And when you say smarter than us, you're assuming that intelligence has something to do with morality. There are really smart people who have done really hideous things.
That's a very good point. Now, I would just say that, just because we've done...
I just want to say it was really weird that he said, oh, yeah, but people have done uncivilized things. It's like, therefore what? It's funny how we talk about like how uncivilized like people, like as soon as veganism's brought up, people are like, yeah, but some people can be uncivilized.
Yeah, and my reaction there was kind of overly charitable. I'm trying to be super nice and understanding and affirming that and I'm also glad that they're bringing up objections, that because they're at least trying to critically think about it. I kind of wish he wouldn't be so much of an excusitarian, if you will, but making up all these excuses, but at the same time, or I guess like it'd be one thing if he was coming up with potential objections, but if he wasn't so sure in the power of them, because he seems a little too confident, considering that his objections are not very good.
I was gonna say, it's so confident for someone that hasn't actually presented an argument against what you've said yet. It's weird. Apart from that, apparently he advocates for more violence to be in the world.
Yeah, it seems that way so far. So
something for a long time doesn't make it morally justified, but I agree with the point you made there.
I'm not saying it is justified because we have done it for a long time. I'm saying that intelligence does not necessarily translate into moral behavior.
But you never said that anyway.
Well, the point I had made was that because, and maybe I wasn't clear enough, but the point I was trying to get at was that because we're smarter than lions, we have the ability, not the guarantee, but the ability to be nicer than lions are. But that's no guarantee that just because we're intelligent, because yes, some intelligent people misuse their intelligence and abuse, animals or children.
Yeah, and it's weird because he kind of brought it up in the first place because he was talking about what did he say? He said something to the effect of justice is a very human concept. So I can see why he might have then misconstrued what you said because you added the word intelligent, but you were just kind of responding to him. It seemed like, okay.
Sure.
So these aliens might correspond to your view of veganism, right? But they may be engaging in other really hideous behavior that you and I will not be able to condone.
Yes, that could be true. Yes, I guess I just feel that we shouldn't, like, because nobody gets to choose how they're born and there's nothing wrong with being different, that we should just be nice to everybody. And like, I'm a human rights activist as well, and I just figured, but I suddenly realized, I want to expand my circle of compassion and stand up against all oppression. And I do think that just because that these lions would do something, or that violent humans will do something, and just because some humans misuse their intelligence as a way to oppress innocent, vulnerable, childlike beings, these animals who did nothing wrong and they can't defend themselves, because they're not as smart as us. But I feel like that's the philosophy of might makes right, that we can do whatever we want to lower beings because we have power over them. But I feel like that's an abuse of power.
Yeah.
I don't think animals are lower beings, so to speak, and I'm sure you also did not mean it that way. But I would like to draw your attention to another thing that happens in my part of the world, which is India, where people who eat meat get discriminated against by vegetarians. There have even been cases of people being killed because they were suspected of possessing meat.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I think that I'm not advocating for violence against anybody, of course, but I do think that,
I'm not saying that you are.
Yeah, I understand. I know you're not saying that about me. And we want to use peaceful means to accomplish our goals, whatever our activist goals are. I think we should talk about these things, and sure, debate and protest is fine, but keep the violence out of it, ideally, right? But at the same time, though, like, I think if we saw somebody kicking a dog, then if the dog's not attacking anybody or anything, the dog's just minding their own business, if we saw somebody kicking a dog, we would probably intervene in one way or another. We might speak to the person and try to calm them down, or we might call the police to intervene, or if there was no time, we might physically put ourselves in between the attacker and the dog. And so I just feel like that's what vegans are doing, just with other animals, and stabbing instead of just kicking, because that's what's happening in the slaughterhouses. Their throats are slit. And I think that
I like that you didn't actually engage because the point that he brought up, he was like, in my country people have been killed for being suspected of having flesh. It's like that could have been a whole other conversation, and luckily you brought it back to, because that's just kind of a strange thing to bring up in the it doesn't really have any relevance. So yeah, you just carried on being like, and the kicking the dog comparison is an excellent one, because yes, people would intervene, and the things that we are doing to animals, though kicking an animal is a horrible thing to do, like stabbing them, oppressing them, exploiting them, all these things, like collectively are going to be a worse thing to do. So I think it's fantastic that you've done that.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Slitting an animal's throat is worse than kicking them.
Yeah.
Right.
Agree. We should be more compassionate.
Right, and I completely agree as well. I do think if I saw someone kicking a chicken, I would intervene, because there's a difference between.
That's a funny thing. Like, people, if they saw a pig being beaten on the street, like they would be like, "What are you doing? Like, are you? Is something wrong with you?" But then as soon as it's dinner time, like they'll pay for worse.
Yeah, he's obviously going to go down the route of that there's a difference because that's unnecessary, though, isn't he? But then,
maybe.
Yeah, like obviously killing them to eat them is unnecessary.
Chase isn't going to spoil it. Chase is just
And this is just my opinion, but there's a difference between ending something's life in a humane way, like quick death ready to be eaten, rather than torturing a creature and then one day maybe eating its carcass. If it's dealt with in a humane way.
If you were the victim, you guys, do you think that it mean much different to you? If you were killed quickly and for a sandwich filler?
It would matter to me if I'm killed slowly or quickly, but there's that third option, ain't there?
Yeah, there's that key third option. There's like,
There's a false dichotomy. It's like, we don't have to do either of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Way, me personally, I find it okay to carry on eating that creature because I like the taste of the creature.
Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean. Like, you're trying, of course it would be worse to torture and then kill an animal, but I think it's also, I think it's still bad to kill the animal, even if it's quick and painless. Just like if somebody killed you in your sleep, you wouldn't feel any pain or any fear. So that's good.
Exactly.
But somebody would have taken your life prematurely. And, these animals are killed when they're very young because that's when it's profitable. So like the natural lifespan of a pig is about 12 years old, just like a dog. But pigs are killed when they're only 6 months old. And that's like killing a puppy.
Right. It's an interest, and I like how it started off as like, here's some aliens that might want to eat us, but actually it was a secret veganism. It was a nice way of doing it, and I appreciate that, Chase.
I always appreciate the imagination of vegans.
Yeah, right.
We are a great imaginative group. Like, think of the things we make food out of. We're like, look, this is a chicken wing, and then we'll come up with these like hypotheticals that people are stumped by. I'm proud of us collectively as a movement for that.
I don't know if I was misled, but that came across as like a patronizing dig. Yeah, I'm always fascinated by the imagination of vegans.
Yeah, well, maybe it was. Maybe I'm being too charitable here. Maybe he was like, you come up with these ridiculous things.
Well, I think that he was actually being honest and genuine and trying to connect with me there in that moment, because the next thing that he says, Vimo, the next thing he says, I think, is that he's starting to, eat less animals and stuff like that.
Cool. Okay. Okay. I got the nice vibe right
It was
then.
a nice way of approaching it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And I don't want to take up too much more of your time. If you have any other questions or anything, that's fine. Or, I might call you again some other time. But I appreciate the open-mindedness and challenging my perspective, but in a polite way. So thank you for that. And I would just remember, that if we don't want violence done to us from another being that's stronger than us, then I don't want to do that violence to someone who's not as strong and smart as me. I want to use my power to.
That's a nice.
I want to use my power to protect.
I like that.
To protect the vulnerable.
I like that. That's a nice way to be, Chase. And I don't like that I eat so much meat. like I know that there is harm caused to animals that taste really bloody good. And so I over the last actually in 2018 I stopped eating one meat altogether because I'm like, I just can't do it to all these animals. So slowly maybe I am stepping away from eating all these animals. It might just take me a little bit longer, and it's nice to have a different perspective on it, and again, like, put forward in a nice respectful way, Chase. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, I like the way, Chase, you are very respectful, but you are firm. You're firm but fair. Is probably the way. And I think that's a really good strategy to not compromise on your values, to make your baseline very clear, but at the same time to like be having a good conversation. So it's cool that you do that.
Yeah, thanks. It's basically like, hey, we're gonna ban meat, but we'll do it with a smile on our face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll still love us afterwards. You won't even miss it.
Thank you.
And I remember, I used to make fun of vegans, and now look
Same.
at me. So you never know.
Right. And actually, I've got a very good friend back in the UK. All he would do is rip on vegans, and now he's vegan himself. So I completely get it.
That's
Nice.
funny. That's funny. All right. Well,
thanks, Chase. Thanks for calling in, and thanks for.
Yeah, and just one last thing I'll say,
Right,
and just one last thing, if I could, I'll just say, there's a lot of delicious food out there that's vegan. We got rice, pasta, fruits,
Right.
vegetables, seeds,
Oh, yeah.
nuts, beans, bread, all that, all that like Asian stir fry or Indian curries and things like this, and then we got the vegan meats and like vegan burgers and pizza and ice cream and all that good stuff. So it's not like we're asking you to get rid of all earthly pleasures or not that, just try to help the animals, but
Right.
try to help.
Yeah. In fact, Chase, if I can just point out, I started moving towards a more plant-based diet about a year ago. I've stopped eating all meat. I still eat eggs and I drink milk, but I'm having just salad for an entire meal for the last entire year. And I recently had the opportunity to taste meat again, and I didn't like it.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, my aesthetic of taste has changed to such a great degree. I
Right.
find salad tasty now, which I found gross a year ago, and I can't handle meat anymore.
And likewise, I gave up beef in 2018. That was my one that and it wasn't just because of it being a cow, and cows are cool, but it was because of the environmental impact of eating beef. And I also had beef not so long ago and went, I don't like steak anymore. What's wrong with me? So I get it.
I think your taste, same thing happened to me. My taste buds changed, and for the first 3 weeks of not eating animals, I had some cravings. I would pull into the drive-through of the McDonald's and see the picture of the big juicy burger, and I'd start salivating and getting cravings. But like I would just order the French fries, and put something in my belly, and then I'd be fine. And after a few weeks, your psychologists say that it takes 3 weeks to change a habit. About 21 days, whether it's smoking or a new exercise or new diet, and so once you get used to a new thing, and if you just focus on the animals and focus on justice, that's what I did instead of focusing on my my preferences and my taste and my pleasure and my habits. I just realign my priorities, and it became really easy, and now I have no cravings at all.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thanks for that, Chase. It's definitely something to think about going forward. I'm not against veganism, but I at the moment I'm still too into the meat taste of certain meats. But I'm willing to explore it going forward. Especially, I keep saying it because I'm very excited. But I've got a child on the way, and I would like my child to think about others, and not just other humans, but other creatures. So it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, exactly. So the last thing I'll leave you with is there's a movie with Joaquin Phoenix on YouTube called Dominion.
Yeah.
And so just check out Dominion on YouTube with Joaquin Phoenix, and it'll show you like undercover investigations of animal factory farms and slaughterhouses.
I think I've heard of this one.
Yeah. Dominion. All right.
Nice.
Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Well,
All right.
Thanks, Chase. You have a good one. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate you.
Bye, Chase.
Hell yeah. Putting that in at the end.
Nice,
By the
nice.
way, watch Dominion.
Well done,
Thank you. Yeah, and notice how I said Dominion 3 times to like make sure everybody heard it, and then it gets stuck in your head. And I promote it with Joaquin Phoenix because he's got a bunch of fans out there,
Yeah, as soon as there's a celebrity's name attached to something, it adds intrigue. even if you don't care too much about celebrities, you're like, oh, it's got Joaquin Phoenix, or oh, Billie
Yeah.
Eilish is saying something. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I have to watch this now. Yeah, fantastic.
I think you did inspire them. I feel like I could tell, like at the end there, that the guy on the right, I can't remember their names, man, but that you'd inspire them. You could tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. You know, sometimes you just plant seeds and get them more open-minded about the issue, and they may not change right then and there. They may not change a year from now, but maybe 2 years from now, you know, or 6 months from now, or once they talk to another vegan activist about it, or maybe they do go watch Dominion, you know. So we got to be patient. It sucks, you know, because I'm impatient, you know, and the animals deserve total liberation right now, you know. We got to fight like hell for it, but we also got to be patient and play the long game and stuff, and remember that there's a lot of different forms of activism. And if, like in my case, like I got to pace myself, you know, because I got like bipolar and PTSD and all this, so like I got to take breaks and do different types of activism that are less stressful sometimes, because these debates can really wear you out with a lot of, you know, people being negative and stuff, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely you've got to, self-care is very important, and if you want to be like an avid, you know, helpful person to a movement, you've got to make sure that you're okay. So yeah, no, absolutely. Well, were there any final thoughts from either of you? If not, we'll be ending the stream. And it was like fantastic to actually have you on while we were watching, because we've been watching streams, you know, videos, and then it's interesting to hear what someone was thinking while they were doing it.
Yeah, it was great. No, I appreciate you having me on. You're both excellent activists, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at Vegan Campout. Everybody in the audience, make sure you got your tickets to Vegan Campout, July 26th to 29th. It's going to be awesome. I got a big surprise waiting for all y'all there too. I'm flying 11 hours from the US all the way down there to the UK, so it's going to be a good time.
I hope the surprise is a burger. I really hope it's a burger.
Oh, it's better than a burger, let me tell you. But anyway, but I was just going to promote my social media. Everybody can find me. Chase Avier, rhymes with behavior, right? Bad behavior. So Chase Avier at Yahoo, or no, not Yahoo, what the YouTube. So YouTube, and my YouTube channel has got some really good stuff on there. I got like a playlist of my top 30 videos, so that's where you should start. So YouTube, and then Instagram is popping, and Facebook goes viral sometimes, so check it out.
Check it out. Yeah, no, thank you very much. And I've put the link to the video that we just saw in the chat, so please go check that out while we leave you, so that you can leave a like and subscribe to his channel. Thank you two for being here. Ban meat. And we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Peace, guys.
Bye.